Previously on Real Housewives.
Well, no, I think it's almost you're intelligent, you're beautiful, you're funny, you don't have a man.
How is this possible?
What's wrong with you? Right? It's
That's
almost
how
that.
she took it.
Yes. I think he meant it as in like, you need to have a man. But I think it was more or less, I think it was that. Look, you have all of the tools. You're borderline.
I think he was meaning it as a compliment.
I do.
He was almost being flirty, like, wow, you're actually available. How is this possible?
Yes.
That's how he was meaning it.
And you can see how that's just not always enough. I was just impressed with that apology. And they both agreed that it would be a learning moment for both of them.
I'm Kelly.
And I'm Steve.
And this is Coupled with Chaos.
Real Housewives. This week we have Beverly Hills, Season 13, Episode 1, and New York, Season 14, Episode 15 with the reunion. Not a ton going on with the reunion, but how, and we're going to do some scoop. I think some juicy scoop at the end of all of this. This week we'll do for our free content, Beverly Hills, Episode 1, The Eaglewoman has landed. How about this lady? Huh? And she has a hype woman, the Raven. The Eaglewoman and the Raven. Her
That's great.
apprentice.
Wasn't it Blue Raven or something?
No, it could have been. I didn't pick up her name until I think they were making introductions, but the Raven.
Yeah, that's
This
funny.
is just super. I love this stuff. They're walking in this tight little circle under a tent.
Yeah, I'm just watching everybody's faces as she's doing her intro about being the eagle and flying high and going to the other side of the sun.
What did you
just
think?
Watching their looks, their expressions.
Right. I think of Erica, right? And just her reaction to all of this. They're just kind of... Well, it's the ones that take it seriously and the ones that do not,
And it's so funny to watch because you can see who.
Yes. Erica. I love that she says that it's the hormones. She's just taking hormones. This is what makes her, it's gotten her losing weight. We did an inside scoop about this before. First time she talked about losing all the weight, it was because of menopause, right? That was the first time.
Menopause doesn't make you lose weight.
I understand
it makes you gain weight.
I understand. Everybody but Erica. So now she's not on, what is it, Wegovy or Ozempic? It is. Yeah. It has seemed, this Ozempic thing is running its course all through Real Housewives. I mean, it's everywhere.
Everybody's taking turns.
Yeah.
They're coming out now with all kinds of medical data that it has bad side effects and can actually cause some organ damage in some people.
There's very few anything that you take that doesn't have some kind of side effect, right?
Right, because it's really designed for people with diabetes. And, people with diabetes, they can't process sugar the way that everyone else does because they lack insulin. And so, to be given that medication to somebody who doesn't have diabetes, you got to think there's probably some not good things that might come from that.
Literally everything has side effects. The side effects are, the list is longer than the benefits. Right.
It's like my medication they have me on for my inflammation in my shoulder is giving me high blood pressure.
So you take something for the high blood pressure. That would be next.
You get off it is what you do.
Oh.
Deal with the pain, suck it up.
Yeah, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're going to take it as needed now?
Yeah, she told me to drop back to every other day, so I skipped yesterday, and I got up hurting today, so today was my day to take it, and we'll see how it goes. She said if it seems like it's all right without it, then I can eventually just stop it altogether, but to at least do every other day.
In a foreshadowing of our personal podcast, this week you really got the news that you'll have to have another shoulder surgery.
Yes, on the other shoulder. This will be number 3.
Yeah. This now maybe I'll stay on Erica, because I thought that this was 100% perfect Erica. She's talking with this therapist, right? And the therapist saying that she's doing a good job. She's going to get off whatever other medications that she's on. And then they start to have this conversation about empathy. And Erica asks, how do I get empathy? Is what she asked. And I think at no point has there ever been a housewife that would be really the perfect question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess Teresa maybe, but I think even more than Teresa, it would be Erica. If you had to put them on the same plane, you would, right? In the same category, Teresa and Erica, as far as empathy goes.
Yes.
Who would have more empathy?
Teresa. I think Erica's pretty cold.
That says something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If in the housewife world, because to me,
Teresa's no poster child example of anything good.
No, so there's no. I mean, if you rank them, and I know we don't have the list in front of us. I mean, they're in a category all to themselves, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm trying to think through everything, and each, and I'm not. I don't get anybody, right? Even Candace sometimes has some empathy for somebody, but Erica doesn't, and that Erica's worse than Teresa is amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Because Teresa's at negative empathy. How do I be a better friend?
When they replayed that clip from last season, my eyebrows went up and I shook my head, where they said, "What about the victims?" And she said, "I don't care about it. She F the victims. I don't care about anybody but myself." And I was like, ooh. That's so
her.
Bad.
That's
her in a nutshell.
Without a doubt. That's just who she is. Do you think she had to do that? If this was, was she just kind of in shock mode of the lawsuits and everything that had been going on?
Yeah, and that's her excuse. She's saying that in fact was what happened, that she just kind of had nobody on her side and just kind of had to, I guess, advocate for herself first and foremost, just to get through it. So, we've never been in her shoes, so I can't say that, that wasn't the case, but it sure seemed pretty cold and heartless and self-absorbed.
Yeah, the thought would be that you would say it. I guess the thought is that you would think it. Mm-hmm. You think that would be enough, but that you would go around and actually say it. At some point, you would think that it would come out not to say that, even if you thought it.
And you saw everybody else's reactions to when she said that.
Well, it was even Kyle, right?
Some of them covered their mouths. It was like, oh, what just came out, Yeah,
I think it was Kyle that said, "Erica, take that back."
Yes, she did.
You don't mean that. She put her in tears.
Right.
That was pretty telling. Do we get? The big thing here is this Kyle and Mauricio stuff.
Yeah, that's something. Boy, the preview of the season looks like it's going to be on fire.
They really downplayed it, right? I thought everything that we saw and heard beforehand.
You mean in the press?
Yeah.
Before the season? Yeah, definitely.
I would say 6 months ago where this was.
But what they showed in the previews for this season, wow, it's way worse than they made it out to be in the press.
I don't even think you have to go to the previews. It was this last scene.
Yeah, that conversation about the tattoos and all that, they're so disconnected and almost combative. That was like, he looked at her like, "Who are you? I don't know this person." Mm-hmm. And she looked at him like, "You ain't going to tell me what to do. I don't have to answer to you. I don't need your permission." And it was like, whoa, are these two married?
Yeah.
That was shocking.
She doesn't. Obviously, it's her body. She gets to do, what she wants. It's this, she's pestering him about, Mauricio lives in a world of relationships and business relationships. So traveling somewhere, or it could be a golf afternoon with a client. This stuff happens. So,
Mm-hmm.
for her to come in there and just kind of pester him about getting off the phone, I'm
Yeah,
guessing
that was really bad.
I'm guessing
I thought that was rude.
they had an appointment or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she said they made an appointment to go over their schedules. And she said, when you're at that point, there's a problem.
Yeah, it seemed really awkward. It was almost like this tattoo battle wasn't a battle about the tattoos.
Right.
It was just that these two
aren't a symptom of something else, not on the same page.
Not at all. I mean, they're not even close. This is, and so she said, I'm not rebelling. And what I said to you was,
she's rebelling.
Yeah, she's rebelling. It's completely 100% rebelling. The issue is she really, I mean, is this going to be over? This is, the kid's grown. I mean, we're here.
Yeah.
This is exactly at that spot.
We've seen this a million times before.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about it with, well, I don't even say with Barry and Kim and Plathville, because the kids aren't grown yet. Some of the kids were grown. And so for her, it was like, it's enough. She got I guess, the sniff of them being free, and I want to be free too.
Yeah.
And maybe it's the same for Kyle. She's just changing. Yeah. They're changing. And again, they've changed apart.
Yeah. Yeah, because they were pursuing their own things without each other. At least with our podcasting, it's, time that's taken up, but taken up together.
Well, what did we see? It was Gina, right? And Travis.
Right.
They're starting to do their, real estate together.
Business together. Right.
It's something. I think it probably, you'd like it not to have to be a deliberate choice. To go, look, we are just going to do something together, or else it's going to be a problem. You'd like it to be natural. But if it's not, I think you're beginning to set a path that's going to lead to you being apart. And you could either then grow apart, and then you're going to end up living in separate rooms your whole life, the rest of your life, or you'd find things to do together.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a big secret. If you're not watching, I guess we'll talk about an inside scoop, but if you're not watching the press on Kyle and Mauricio now, and you don't know, I'll save it for scoop, but it's really public. You'd have to almost be running from social media or news not to see where they are right now.
Yeah, it's making headlines. It's so public because they're doing what they're doing publicly. Being seen, even on television. So,
right,
as it turns out,
Mauricio's on Dancing with the Stars now.
Yep, and even the judges are making public comments on the show about him and relationships. So.
I think that stuff kind of happens. These people end up spending a ton of time together. If you're watching Love after lockup right now, maybe this is the issue, right? This is why she didn't want him dancing with the ballroom dancer, because maybe she watches Dancing with the Stars and knows what happens.
That's funny.
Kyle puts a lot of this on Kathy and that relationship issues that they have.
Well, I think that, a lot of Kyle's changes have happened because of that. I do think that's when things started to change for her.
You think she was struggling and Mauricio wasn't there for her when, she was having trouble with her sisters?
Well, I think she's had a tumultuous relationship with her own family members forever. On again, off again, on again, off again, talking to this one, not talking to that one, ignoring each other, whatever. The whole thing has been a painful experience for her.
Why do you think that is? What is it about Kyle that you think she brings this on herself in some way?
To some degree. I mean, I told you didn't used to watch this show when the other sister was on.
I'd seen scenes and stuff. You couldn't help but see stuff as you had it on.
Yeah. But there were some terrible scenes between them where your mouth just dropped open at how she would expose the other sister on TV, just
the alcoholism thing.
Secret family stuff, and that was, and about the mom's house, and I kept you from being homeless, and I mean, just really letting out personal business.
And she did.
And I didn't think that was right.
She did that movie, or
she did a movie about the family. Yeah.
So they didn't approve of that. Kyle's kind of, I guess, been doing her own thing. So this isn't her little thing about tattoos and whatever. Just, it's not new for her. She's kind of always beat to her own drum.
Right.
Is Dorit and PK's marriage issues kind of a surprise?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And looking back, you can see how it did start to happen when that break-in occurred, because he was out of town.
He was in London.
You remember when he came back, he didn't react the way that everybody expected he would, because she was so traumatized.
I told you when I saw it that I suspected it could have been.
You thought he set it up
in his insurance thing.
For an insurance thing, because he was having financial problems.
I get it.
Taxes and stuff.
That was just, look, I mean, I put it out there as a possibility.
You sure did.
I'm not saying it did or it was true, but it just made me think about it, because we know about his gambling issues.
Right.
And it's not, I don't know that it's not current, but we talked in depth, I don't know, a year ago about his gambling debts, and that he'd been cut off at multiple casinos and had to have a payment plan, and wasn't keeping up with the payment plan.
Right. It's pretty bad. Yeah.
So when all that's happened, I mean, look, people with some gambling issues can do some pretty inventive things
and cause a lot of damage.
So I think the surprise here, and this is not something we heard. I don't know how Sutton had gotten it, but I guess all people talk, right? But that PJ...
Yeah, I had not heard about him having a woman when he was arrested for the DUI. We did not hear that at all. That's interesting. And that being so soon after her traumatizing break-in. And so you can imagine how that would really damage a relationship at a very vulnerable time.
I noticed this. We noticed how Kyle obviously had lost a ton of weight, and that Erica had also. I think Dorit had gone in the other direction. I think I'd noticed that she was a bit. Let's put it this way: that she was a bit more healthy.
Yes.
And I don't say that in a negative way. I think I think a lot of these housewives, the pressure isn't
get
with
too
her.
Thin. Right.
Is to be too thin. So I mean, she looked what I would say normal. And normal, I think is
she did look healthier.
Is probably pretty good.
Yeah.
But I think it's probably not how she would want to look.
Right, because you've seen her in the past just
she's a rail.
Food, a bite of this, a bite of that. Yep. Never like a meal.
And so she looked a bit more healthy this time.
She did.
Sutton was the source of this, and Sutton seems to be in a lot of the previews talking quite a bit. Like she's the new, the bone, who is it, the bone collector?
Yeah, the bone collector.
Who is that, Sheree?
Yeah.
The original bone collector from Atlanta. But a woman with him, that would have been something.
Something.
Because she came and picked him up. Dorit picked him up.
Yeah.
Or no, wait a minute, didn't he get out the next, I don't remember the details of whether he got out the next morning or she picked him up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So that is, I think, a big deal. And Dorit kind of got on Erica about throwing her under the bus at BravoCon.
Yes, that was something. And I agree with her. When they showed the clip of her smirky face and her whole performance that she did, that was pretty crappy. It was like she took delight in throwing that bomb.
Yeah. She just gave them what they wanted to hear.
For the attention.
At whose expense, though?
Right. Yeah, that's terrible, especially when you got kids,
Boy, Garcelle's kids. Back. How about that? Jackson Jade. About you weren't there for me when I needed you as a kid, and I don't need you now. That happened.
Wasn't that something?
Wow, that's heavy.
My
deep.
Jaw dropped. She looked like she'd been slapped in the face. It jarred her.
Well, I think that's a calm conversation.
It was, yeah. And she took it. She didn't, get ugly or anything.
And he didn't either. Normally, that would be yelling would happen.
Right.
And there was none of that. It was calm. He said, I'm good now. I needed you then, and you weren't always there.
Right.
I needed more. I'm good now. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
Because she said, you don't let me mother you.
When I needed you, you weren't there.
Like when he's sick and you won't let me, take care of you. And he says, well, I don't need that now, but I needed it then.
It's pretty deep for a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
She's got some repair work to do. But he seemed like he understood. And I don't know, maybe more kids in the celebrity limelight have to deal with stuff like that.
Well, as a single parent, it's got to be a lot to juggle.
Mm-hmm. Tough.
But she did pick a career that takes her away, and that she didn't have to do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's always a choice, right?
Right. Yeah.
It just is. Maybe the shocker of the episode was Sutton's monthly support payment.
Oh, my goodness. I texted you about that immediately. Get a load of this. That's crazy.
$325,000 a month.
A month.
That doesn't seem...
spousal support.
That doesn't seem right.
Yeah. They must have been mega loaded. And she says she earned every penny.
Well, I mean, obviously, she stayed at home. He worked. I mean, we get it. It's not like she didn't. You know what I mean? So, that's that. Well,
I guess I wouldn't be in a hurry to get married again. I'm just getting that kind of money for doing nothing.
Because would that stop then? That spousal support would stop if you got married.
Until you get married, yeah.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't get married.
Right, that's what I mean. Have fun dating.
I wonder if there's a time limit on that.
I don't think so.
How could there be? You can't pressure somebody to get married.
It's to support a lifestyle that you've become accustomed to is what it is. So it's not like child support where it's while they're a child.
Right. That would work. That would be all right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. How about that?
You should have married somebody with money.
Yeah, maybe you should have. No, it's just
happy.
Me. Right. We're going to talk about New York next, and I've got a healthy little list of inside scoop stuff for housewives that I think is pretty interesting. That will be next. No Salt Lake this week. I think it was Winter House that they put in that slot. They're trying to get people to watch Winter House. I tried watching Summer House, but it looked like it was
trashy.
It looked like it was just
too raunchy.
A bunch of people. I'm trying to think of the
partying.
Term. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the term I don't know what it is, but you know what they were doing. If you listen to our podcast, that I'm not mentioning exactly what
and
they're
hooking
doing.
Up.
Right.
Smashing.
That's what it was. Smashing. Look at you pulling smashing out. I couldn't come up with it, so I was going to try and play it off like I was being on a morally higher level. But thank you.
Smashing was the word.
Where did we hear smashing this week?
What was it? It was one of the shows.
Had to be the Sunday 90 Day show, because that's as raunchy as things are getting right now.
It could have been Love After Lockup.
Yeah, it also could have been that.
That's
I don't think
raunchy.
anybody's smashing there.
I don't know.
Seems to be a lot of non-smashing going on there. 90 Day Sunday is where all the smashing happens. It's just nasty.
Yeah.
So
it is that.
So if you're protesting that, we protest it. It seems like every Sunday now. So
Yeah.
next, though, is New York Reunion 1 and then Housewives Scoop. Thank you for listening.
You can listen to the rest of this episode
By subscribing to our Coupled with Chaos channel on Apple.
by subscribing to our Patreon
Or by subscribing to our Supercast,
for $3.99 a month.
where you can hear us talk about reality shows,
Real life and more on our podcast.
covering shows airing on TLC, A&E, Bravo, and the WE Network.
Just follow the instructions in the show notes.
Tell your friends about this podcast.
And rate and review us on your favorite podcast player.
Follow us at Coupled with Chaos and all the socials.
Or contact us directly by email at coupledwithchaos@gmail.com.